Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. So, YieldMax took away my favorite time of the every 4 weeks, which was predicting Misty's distribution, where I did a prediction and I had no accountability for how accurate I was. So I thought it might be nice for us to try to predict what is the market going to do for the rest of 2025. But every time I try to film it, I started it with sarcastically saying, based on the main character indicator, the rest of 2025, gold, crypto, and AI is going to totally crash and everything's going to zero. Mostly just because I have a 36% margin buffer, and that's what happens when you over leverage yourself. But I don't think that's particularly useful. I just think that it's better to plan for the eventualities and then exercise the plan, even if it doesn't feel great at the moment, because you'll be happy if you've thought it through and you know what you're going to buy in the downturn. You know how you're going to act if there's an uptrend. So, yes, let's take this time while YieldMax has changed the cadence of everything to reevaluate why you're in these single stocks. Do you still need to be in all of these single stocks? Do you want to sell some of your positions and get into something that has maybe a basket of things? What do you really have conviction on? Because being truthful with yourself and being in things that you have high conviction on, even when it goes down, that means you'll have the conviction to continue to invest like you probably should be. So I also noticed that in my retirement account, because this is currently Thursday, October 16th, when I am filming this, I had over $1,000 in my retirement account that I could use to do a shopping spree. And since we didn't do one because I'm in Coronado, or at least I was in Coronado, let's do that. Let's do a shopping spree. So I had $1,146 that I transferred from my Roth account just now. That means that I should transfer $286.50, and MST right now is at $7. XBTY is at $16.47. NVYY is at $23.35. PLTW is at $46.55. And so I just want to make sure that I have the correct things before we go into account transfer. And we're going to transfer assets. And we're going to, so my thing is that I am aware that I am over leveraged both in the amount of margin that I have and in the type of products I have in my margin account. And I might not 100% get this correct, but we're going to try to de-risk me and then pay off my margin. So as I get more of a payoff from my Roth and the dividends in here and leftover from paying my bills, then I'm going to start to sell puts on like MSTX. That way, even when the market goes down, that contract still stays the same dollar value until it's exercised or expires worthless. So I'm going to start doing that. That way we can, because I don't think I'm going to be able to transfer this every single one of these leverage things out of my account quick enough for whatever market correction is happening. And that's just, I'm not trying to be a bah humbug about all this, but, we shouldn't always go forward assuming there's not going to be a market correction. Like, always try to temper your enthusiasm, because the market, when you see those signs where everyone's very excited and everyone's buying into crap companies that are going up and up and up, that's when you know there's going to be a market crash. And so, but sometimes there's black swan events and it comes out of nowhere. And so I'm just doing whatever I can to make my margarine account more stable with, more gold, basically, and eventually getting into things like the S&P 500. So right now, and pretty sure that the transfer did go through. Sometimes it takes a minute. I didn't want to make any rash decisions. So why don't we do blocks? This is $123.04. We'll do buy that in dollars, $123.04. And we're doing that because I have a list in my rules for engagement for the rest of 2025. And because I want to get into a lot of things, and this is a leveraged trash account, I'm just going to get 20 of each share and just rotate through them. That way I get into the positions I want. I have like a stake in them, but I'm also like building them up in a reasonable amount of time. So hopefully this is a cash account, so it can go up and it can go down. I don't really care. But for my margarine account, I really want this to be basically stable and paying off my margin. And eventually the balance will be the leverage trash pays for my regular everyday expenses. My margarine account pays off the margin, and the personal loan and the 0% credit cards and everything. It's just that right now I'm getting hardly anything in the leverage account because I'm having to slowly shuffle things over. So let's look and see. So I have $67,000 in used margin, which is interesting because before I did all this transfers and everything, oh my gosh, sorry y'all. This is it. I just wanted to move this over to this. Okay. This is YieldMight, by the way. This is what I have created. I still have not updated this from yesterday for YieldMax, but that is the next thing that I'm going to do. But I really just wanted to get this off to the side for some reason. Okay. So basically I had $68,000 before I transferred over the Roth stuff. So I'm going to have to stop clicking on things. I'm sorry. I don't know what is up with my mouse tracker today and clicking on literally all the things except for what I want to be in. But, okay, so we have $67,294.75. Okay. So we're going to invest. Okay, so what I wanted to do, instead of focusing on buying into new things, is selling more puts. But if we take a look at winter here, even though yesterday was the ex-div date, we're at 11.3%, and this should not be above 10% in my portfolio, really. So we're going to sell. I'm not even sure how much I need to sell. So why don't we try like $100 at a time? So we're going to sell 3 shares of this for a 1% loss, but we really need to get this, not this portfolio diversity should be at 10% of my portfolio and not more. And traditionally, if I wasn't way over leveraged, it's right there. Okay. So that brought it down like 0.3%. So, okay. We're going to sell like 500 and see if that makes a dent in it. So traditionally I should be buying into things like MST because MST is falling. This went up. So to keep it balanced, I should be doing that. But I'm not buying any more MST or MS2 or MSTY in this account. So we just did $500. We can do another $500. We're going to sell that. 10.74. Okay. So we'll just do one more $500 and that will be close enough. It doesn't have to be exact. I just think that we need to be careful with, okay. So 10.5%, that's like enough because I still have leveraged Bitcoin and leveraged MST, but let's look at SLTY because it was at 9.95%. So we're going to buy like, can we do, okay, so let's buy like 10 shares. And is that getting, okay, so that got us to at just a little bit over 10%. So that's fine. So we are now still properly like 10% of my portfolio has an inverse on it. In both of those, the inverse of the NASDAQ and the inverse of the, well, it's not really inverse of the NASDAQ, but the inverse of Ulti and, well, their strategy anyways. Basically opposite of the shorting the market with SLTY and shorting crypto with Winter. So now we have, okay, so we have 66,088.82. So you have $1,611.18 for, so how did I get, I don't want to be between my options collateral and my margin used above $70,000 used. So using my Excel spreadsheet, I have $1,611. What is MSTX doing? MSTX. Okay, so I think we can definitely put on, okay, we're going to sell a put, and this is for 1 day. We can start, why don't we do it for next week? That is 8 days from now. And we go out to like $13. And that delta is way too low. Why don't we do, I'm going to get caught in this again. So we'll do $14. We'll get $30 of credit here. Sell a put. Just making sure I'm doing this correct. Continue. So one contract. And can we do .35? So we get $35 of credit. We have a medium chance of getting that at $14. So that's $1,400. Review order. Submit. And that's done. So now I have 2 sell put contracts on MSTX, or at least one that's pending. And so then we have minus 1,400. I was going to invest $69. We can do that. We can do $70. And basically, Oh, for KGLD, we're gonna buy, and it's not gonna be 211, 18, so it should be 6 shares that we buy. And so that'll be $183.90 into gold, which I don't mind buying. Basically 30% of what I borrowed from, or I took from my retirement account, should be going into gold. And then we still have $27.52, so we'll put that into GDXY. GDXY has a higher distribution rate, but it's also not spot gold. It is gold miners. So in a market downturn, this does have a higher chance of also going down in a bad market, which is not great when you're using it as a somewhat of a hedge. My thought process on this is, even if it does go down, hopefully it doesn't go down as much as the crypto and the AI if both of those pop and go down at the same exact time. But you never know, which is why I am going back to buffering up my KGLD, because that has the best total returns for gold for things that are on the market for right now. So, and it's like my only monthly gold paying thing. So it's one of the only monthly, because Bidey also pays monthly, but basically everything else pays every single week. And I'm trying to see whether I want to invest in T-SPY or QLDY. It's just that QLDY has not been out for very long, but it's very intriguing to get paid twice a week in an account where I'm actively trying to just balance my margin out. I am probably leaning towards T-SPY in this particular account because the S&P 500 has less volatility, so it's less up and down than the NASDAQ 100. And it has a reasonable rate of return at 20%. So anyways, we did that. We invested in the leveraged trash, so we have $0 there. And now in the retirement account, we have $286.93, which we're just automatically going to go all the way down to the bottom and buy $50 worth of the WPay. We're going to buy YSpy. Like 3 shares of YSpy. I like YSpy, don't mind me. And then blocks, we'll just do it at like $50 as well. And then in the retirement account, well, we're going to do 1 share of MTYY to make it 5 shares. We are balling over here. But then we're going to buy MSTR, just like $20 worth. And then I don't know if I have the actual AMD right now in my retirement account, but I think at the moment we'll also just buy $20 of it just to put some skin in the game. And then I have been influenced, not gonna lie, but we will put $20 into Amazon as well. And that'll put us at having about $40 left to invest in things. So around $50. Okay. So we'll put money into, why don't we just put $20 into GPTY and then $20 into Chippy. And that'll give us $9 left over to put into things like SPMO. So $9.13. So yes, I am starting to buy into not investing things in my retirement account. It's probably time, it's past time for me to start trying to convert some of this stuff to thinking about the future in my retirement account. So I'm not selling out of any of my investing, like the high income stuff, because not anytime in the next 2 or 3 years am I going to be being able to contribute to my IRA. So using the money that I am generating from the income to buy into some untethered, like no capped upside, just regular stocks, I think is going to be good for me in my retirement account. So yeah, we'll continue doing this. My investing account is slowly, like, honestly, you all, that $23 call that went, like, it was very out of the money when I did it, but then it became very in the money. And so now I'm just rolling it until we get assigned that $23 and then that $23 MSTX, and then I'm immediately putting it over into my cash account and doing cover calls from there. And then when that gets called away, I'm taking that capital and putting it into my margin account just to sell puts again. So this is going to be fun. So hopefully we get that assigned to us, or I'll just continue trying to get in that $13 trade with MSTX this time. And so even if I do get assigned, hopefully I'm lowering my cost basis every time we're able to roll it over. So I had the chance, I looked at it and I was like, I don't want to spend $130 to close this. And now it's at $515 if I wanted to close it. So this is probably a lesson for, if a trade goes against you, close it out, because it just gets more expensive the more you wait. But we're just doing a regular dividend or options wheel where I'm rolling it forward, which is probably not traditional, but as soon as it does get assigned, like we're not spending $515 to close it out. We'll just get assigned and then sell cover calls. I might not get, the 100%, like the same kind of distribution yield that I would get from if I was just in an ETF. But I have more, well, at this point I don't have more upside potential, but the next time it's on a tear and it goes up, then I'll put it further and further out of the money, hopefully, and I have control over it. So right now, the main benefit of doing my own selling options is like that $3,300 is is stable. So that value isn't going to change on me unless the contract is either like I get assigned the shares or it expires worthless. So it's just slightly less dangerous than just using $66,000 of margin. So it also helps me visualize, am I paying down my margin? Because when I kept it at $70,000, it was harder to tell, like, are we even making progress on not having as much margin out? Like, I'll feel much better when the amount of margin that I have is basically the same as my outstanding balance on my personal loan. So, yeah, that's it for us for this shopping trip. I don't really have any insights for the rest of 2025. The best I can do is say, be careful about the information that you're consuming. Make sure that you're listening to people that are encouraging you to keep buying. Don't listen to people that are saying, get out of the market, everything's awful. And, just have a plan, reevaluate, rebalance, make sure you have your convictions, and just maybe write it down. That way, when something happens and it all feels awful, at least you'll have a point of reference to say, no, this is the reason why I did this. We're just going to continue to do this, and it's all going to be fine. So, anyways, hopefully I will see you all tomorrow for something that I made fresh, because I'm not at the time of the filming, but at the time when I'm uploading this, back from Coronado. So I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.